in Lathrop. Slater, a Warriors insider for The Athletic, and he's a nominee for Guest of the Year. How about that? And, of course, he's a long-suffering Dolphins fan, but he may have the last lap this Sunday in the afternoon matinee against the 49ers. Slater, good morning, brother.
Who's my competition? Like, who am I going against?
Dave Fleming, Brian Baldinger. Who else do we have, Lubbock?
Jerry Rice, Terrell Owens, and Herm Edwards.
Jerry Rice, yeah, you might be.
I mean, honestly, just the fact that I'm, like, in a category against Jerry Rice, I feel pretty good.
There you go. You may win, you may not win. We'll let you know about that. It's a tough category to crack, though, Slater. Anthony. So the fact that you are a nominee says a lot.
Yeah, Anthony, we're excited to see if you win, you know? We might have a prize for you.
Okay. All right. I'll be searching on Twitter. I'm going to put your alerts on, or whoever's breaking this news.
I don't know if there's going to be any
not just
prizes.
In the men's bathroom.
Oh boy, Lubbock bothers you in the men's bathroom?
No, we know he likes to bomb it up in there.
Well, why would you throw him? What the hell?
I'm not ready to answer that question.
I guess the thing
we can address that one later.
Yeah, I mean, that was a weird one. Slater, I'm sorry. I apologize on behalf of Joe Shasky.
What is going on here?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. But since we're getting weird, and the show has been weird today, Slater, before we get to basketball, we'll ask you two questions. I didn't know there was a drone problem in America. Do you have a drone problem up there? Where are you at? The El Dorados Hills, Citrus Heights, some suburb up there in Sacramento?
El Dorado Hills. We got a fog problem today. It's very foggy on the hills.
So no drone problem.
Suck it up, Buttercup. Fog problem.
You see a lot of planes, the planes. It's right below their path coming over the Sierra. So I see planes. I don't see many drones. I will say this: when they play high school football games down here, Oak Ridge is pretty big here. I do see drones sometimes, but I feel like they're just doing like camera shots from above and stuff like that.
Yeah, no drone problems, no conspiracy theories. Also, have you ever eaten raccoon? I know you went to Oklahoma State, and it could be country out there in Oklahoma. From what I hear, there's a lot of people eating raccoons these days. Do you eat raccoon? Have you ever eaten raccoon?
I don't, but let me tell you, we had maybe a month ago in our little hills neighborhood over here, we had some raccoons, like a group of 4 that were going and rummaging up front yards, and it was causing a real problem here. So it hasn't been in the last month, so maybe somebody in the neighborhood caught them and potentially ate them. I don't know.
That's great knowledge. All right, Schroder, how does it work here with the Golden State Warriors? You like the fit?
I do. I think one thing that's being underrated in this, because, I think there's a lot of talk of he's pick and roll. He's not how the Warriors play. They need to, kind of adapt to him. He's very adaptable. This is his 8th team in 12 years, which, you could take in many ways, but one of the ways I'll take it is he can really kind of maneuver and evolve into various roles. I mean, I can remember back in his middle of his prime in Oklahoma City, he was coming off the bench in a 3-guard lineup. Remember, he used to play with Chris Paul and Shea at the same time. Mm-hmm. They still anybody from that team, including Mark Dagnall, loves to talk about how important that team was and the Thunder's kind of slow rise, Shea's rise. But anyway, Schroder was an important part of that. You remember him on those Lakers teams? He was kind of a pest defender off the bench. Obviously, he's been playing in Brooklyn as just their primary scorer, primary ball handler. He can do a lot of things and kind of, he's shown he can kind of move into the exact type of role you need. So it may take a little bit, but I do like the fit because it seems to me he kind of fits everywhere.
He does. I really like the player. I think a lot of Warrior fans really like the player. He's one of those guys you hate playing against and you love him on your team. He's a classic fit. But what does it do for Podziemski? Because I'm listening to Steve Kerr yesterday, and he's essentially now backtracking and saying that Podziemski's not necessarily the ball handler that we thought he was. We want him to play a little more off ball, and he can make plays as on the back end of a play, not on the front. It's kind of crazy. I feel like they've reversed course on Podziemski. Do you get that same sense too?
Well, I mean, the play has dictated, them tapping the brakes here, right? And again, they're not going to come out and say the stuff that we can say. He's having a bad season. He's shooting it. He's one of the worst volume shooters in the league. I think he's at 38%. I think that's 4th worst, among people who've taken a certain amount of shots, 150 shots. Obviously, his 3 hasn't fallen. He hasn't shown a ton that you'd want to see as kind of a pick and roll creator. And it was all things they talked about over the summer, right? I know Brandon Podziemski told me, hey, I'm going to take 8 to 10 threes per game potentially, or I want to. But part of that quote was actually that he talked to Mike Dunleavy and Steve Kerr, and they wanted him to up his volume. It was a lot of, obviously, everybody remembers that Joe Lacob, we think he's going to be an all-star. And sure, that still might be in the cards years down the line. But it's clear they wanted him to really up his responsibilities and who he was offensively coming into this year, and it just hasn't worked. And I think at this point in time, it's a smart time to pivot off, and I think they got a very good player to lessen Podziemski's minutes and load. And sure, in certain lineups, it probably will help Podziemski, mostly because it's just taking responsibility away from him that he doesn't, at least for a winning team at this current moment, doesn't seem quite ready for. And again, they're going to say it in their own delicate ways because they're the people inside the franchise. But I mean, we all understand what's going on. We got eyes.
Yeah, I mean, I think the way you said it was pretty eloquent. But I'm now wondering, like, a guy that I didn't think was necessarily tradable in their eyes feels tradable. Just your gut feeling. It's just you have nothing other than your gut. Is he on the team?
He was never. Yes, I think he's on the team. To answer your question,
Okay.
I think he's on the team past February, but he was never not tradable. He was just valued extremely highly in all talks this summer, and part of that was he had 3 years at extremely cheap value, whereas Kuminga has 1 year left, and extension talks this summer, all that. But he's still viewed as like a long-term piece by them. I think they're going to take a step back here a little bit. He's still, by the way, everyone you talk to, they're like, hey, he's not just going to get DMPs now. He's going to be 24 minutes a game still. And, I guess it's like the off guard, third guard, you'd probably say, if Schroder starts. But, sure. Like, I would say maybe they're like, you could say, hey, now they'd be more willing to throw him in the trade. But also now the league probably values him a little bit less, right? It's that constant balance we've gone through the last few years with all the Warriors' young pieces. The better they play, the more they want to keep them, the more the league wants them. The worse they play, the more willing they'd probably be to give them up, but also the less the league will offer them. So I don't know. It's a little bit tough. But to your question, I do think he'll be here past the deadline, yes.
Anthony Slater here on the River Islands Guest Line does an excellent job for the Athletic, a Warriors insider for the Athletic, also at Odyssey NBA insider as well, the Plus Minus podcast of Tim Kawakami, now part of the Odyssey family. Check out Slater on that as well. Slate's Kuminga and Draymond. This dilemma here where Steve Kerr's adamant that JK's a 4. Draymond Green, I know he mentioned after the game, like, hey, man, you got to set a tone against Dallas. And they didn't set a tone defensively as they allowed 46 points in that first quarter. I guess I'll ask the same question about JK. We could get into the fit here. Is JK on this roster past the trade deadline in the NBA?
I think so. Yes. I'm not sitting here saying they're done making moves because they are searching and will continue to search. Although you definitely get a vibe from them that they're going to like take a long look here, a runway with Schroder and how the team looks and what the potential upside is, and then they'll look at the market as the deadline gets closer. And sure, if a big fish is there and it makes sense, like Kuminga theoretically could be on the deal, but they're not just going to trade him to trade him. I mean, he's still maintains to them high value long term. The fit with Draymond, like, it is what it is. We've kind of known this. So they can play together. They just have to be the 4-5,
right?
Which means there's not a center. But there's a lot of minutes to be had where there can be solo Kuminga 4 minutes, solo Draymond 4 minutes, and then minutes in small ball together. It's just Kerr has decided the best way to script that out is Draymond coming off the bench. He's still going to play 30 minutes. He's still going to close it mostly at center probably. Although with Schroder here, I could see on certain nights if Schroder's got it going and Steph's out there, Steve feeling the need that maybe Kuminga's offense isn't as important and you could close with like Draymond Looney, right, to kind of backbone the defense. But I think they're in an okay spot with Draymond and Kuminga because I do think you can make a rotation where they're both getting around 30 minutes. You just got to split them at times, and right now they're deciding to split them with Kuminga starting. And Looney's probably just going to have to shoulder a heavy defensive load. And I want to see Schroder defensively. They're really talking him up like he's a real plus on that end.
Yeah, point of attack defense there. Yeah, I'm intrigued to see that. They got to cut the water off in the backcourt there. But just thinking about Kuminga, if Draymond does re-enter the starting lineup and JK comes off the bench, which I still think he should get 25 to 26 to maybe even 30 minutes a night, I do like it when they go to that second unit. And what if they do have Schroder at the point guard spot alongside Buddy Hield and JK? And now you can tinker that, the motion offense and the movement and all that, and you go heavy pick and roll with Schroder and Kuminga. I think that would be a devastating set for the Warriors coming off that second unit here. JK's diving to the rim, and he's doing a better job rebounding. I know there wasn't a lot of rebounds available against Dallas, but overall the last couple of weeks, JK has done a better job on the glass, Anthony.
Yeah, he's playing better. I mean, anybody who knows him will tell you, like, if he has a known solidified role and he feels a level of belief and, like, you know, every night, I'm going to come to the arena super focused because I know I'm getting 32 minutes. You know, I know I'm going to have heavy responsibility. Like, he generally plays better. Go look at his splits on nights where he gets like 25 or more minutes. Like, it's often there's a lot more activity there. There's a lot more rebounds, a couple assists, you know, a steal or two there, maybe a block. He had a 3-block night against Minnesota the other day. And obviously, you know, the point totals are up there. So, yeah, I mean, I feel pretty good about where he's at as a player right now in year 4. Again, I think we could take 2 steps back and look at, like, the grand scheme of how he's been developed over the years and wonder, hey, if they had given him 800 more minutes over the last 3 years, would he be better? Probably, because any young player would be better if he had, you know, another half season more of reps that he could have got if, you know, they weren't playing Anthony Lamb on certain nights, or, you know, name your player that they played over him. But still, like, I don't know, year 4, we could discuss his game in detail and the flaws that still exist within it, but I think he's a very solid NBA wing at this point.
As someone that's viewing this from, like, the top perch, they feel very vulnerable right now, the Warriors. What do they need? Like, if you were to give them the magic touch of one thing can go well for them, and they can carry that on, what would it be? Like, what element, what player, what phase of the game?
Like, am I giving them somebody on the trade market, or am I saying,
no,
hey,
I'm saying the current roster you have, there's a player that needs to, like, for example, in my head, I'm like, man, when Buddy Hield's been on, they've been almost unbeatable. I just don't know how you get him to be more consistent, you know? Is there an element of the game that the Warriors can play over the next couple of weeks that you'd like to see them shore up to get better again?
Yeah, I think they just got to close better, and that's part of the Schroder, addition. Like, you know, how many? Yes, they're 2-8 in their last 10, but, like, they're not getting blown off the floor. How many? Like, they're in every game late, right? And you could name, like, at least 4 or 5 of them where it's like they had a 6-point lead with 5 minutes left, and they got outscored, you know, 13-2 in the last 5 minutes because they couldn't score. Obviously, that happened in Houston. It happened against the Thunder. It happened in San Antonio. So we kind of know, like, it's stuff we've been discussing, but I want to see, like, Dennis Schröder. It doesn't feel like this is, like, chapter 2 of their season or whatever, you know, whatever. It's a new chapter today. They're going to look different. They're going to have a relatively high usage player, maybe their second leading scorer debut tonight. And certainly their second highest usage ball handler in the fourth quarter, I think, is going to be Dennis Schröder. He's kind of built himself as a guy who scores and helps in the fourth. So, you know, again, if you're diagnosing what could, like, you know, turn their season back in a much more positive direction, to me, the easiest thing that I could actually see happening, because Buddy Hield suddenly being, like, you know, full throttle Buddy Hield, you know, for 82 games is not going to happen. That's who he is. But Dennis Schröder really boosting this team's offense, particularly in the fourth, like, that could change their win-loss record in a large way.
I don't think the Warriors have won a game in which Buddy didn't score at least 18 points. I think
that's crazy.
That's crazy. I don't know if that's the barometer. I don't know what to make of it, but I was just looking at some splits, and when he doesn't score at least 18, they don't win. And he was stuck on 15 in that Rockets game a week ago. And, of course, we know how that game ended, where they lose 91-90, don't get to go to Las Vegas. Real quick, Anthony, before we let you go, and we do appreciate the time, as Anthony Slater joins us here on the River Islands guest line. What's your thoughts on the new All-Star game format?
Oh, I'm going to have to see it. I don't know. I mean, like, I've skipped, like, the last 4 or 5 All-Star games just because it felt like a young reporter's, like, you know, dream to go cover it. And then after, like, the 3rd or 4th one, I was like, what am I even doing here? I'm getting, like, there's no, like, tangible value to any of this. It's uninteresting to me. I know it's like, that's not what the league wants to hear, but it's faded in interest, I think, even more over the years. Sure, I'm okay with them trying something new. They've done the Elam ending. They did the picking the teams, like, pickup. And I heard Durant say yesterday, just go back to East-West. I'm almost fine with that. Go back to East-West. Do whatever you want to try to incentivize the players, maybe financially. But if it wasn't in San Francisco this year, I would not be going, because it doesn't interest me anymore.
I'm kind of with you. I would be taking a vacation if it wasn't in San Francisco. That's for sure, Sasky. Got any more for Slates?
No, I love basketball. I'm coaching, 8th grade right now. My nephew and a bunch of other kids, and I've seen them from kindergarten all the way through. And it's just, there's just so many things that they see at the NBA level that drive me absolutely insane. And we're fixing the All-Star game, and I'm like, Adam Silver, there are 1,000 other things that I could, try to fix or help you or encourage you to fix. The All-Star game was not even on my notebook, and it feels very unnecessary.
Well, I'll tell you why. I mean, it's one of their big money events, and it used to be like huge rating-wise, right? This used to be like equivalent to like a West Finals, NBA Finals. Like people used to like Sunday All-Star game. Remember that when they used to wear all the different jerseys and it was like Kobe and Iverson and like that era? Like that was one of their big ticket. We're selling this to the TV stations as, hey, TNT, you get the All-Star game. And the ratings have, gone off a cliff. Right. And I like that is why they're very interested in saving it. I generally agree with you that we can, I think some of the smaller picture, bigger picture gameplay, rule changes and schedule changes and maybe, shortening the schedule would actually make the league better in a lot of ways. But I can also, I also understand financially why they're trying to get people care more.
Like it's a great point, but my counter, like, you guys just signed a $12 billion deal. Like, who is like opining that it's a make or break as a broadcast company for us to be able to sell this one game? I don't know. It feels like a drop of water in the bucket.
It does feel unnecessary right now when we're talking in, early December. That weekend is kind of like there's no other things going on in the league, right? They always schedule it post Super Bowl. It's supposed to be a showcase NBA weekend. It's become a little embarrassing for the league the last couple of years. And while we don't really care about it right now in early December, if it's a horrible game again, come Sunday, February, whatever it is, like you guys are probably going to be talking the Monday after that is how bad the All-Star weekend is. Yeah. And they don't want that anymore.
Yeah, 200 points scored last year, which is just an absolute joke by the Eastern Conference. Anthony Slater here on the River Islands guest line. Your Dolphins going to beat my Niners on Sunday? Our Niners, I should say.
Oh, man, it got flexed to like 105. Nobody's even trying to watch it anymore. I'd probably take the Dolphins because they're at home and it's meaningless, which means they'll probably show up.
It didn't get flexed. It got night-nighted.
It got night-nighted. Yeah,
it did not.
I did not realize it. I must have been sleeping under a rock because I was like, yeah, Niners got a 10 o'clock game. Someone was like, no, dude, they're playing at 105 or 125, whatever the hell it is. I'm like, really? Oh, that's kind of cool.
This was supposed to be like probably, I don't know who has it, Fox or CBS, but I think when the schedule makers made it, they envisioned like Tom Brady and the Fox crew or, Jim Nantz. And that was like the premier 125, like, right. An AFC Goliath against an NFC Goliath. No, those are two of the most disappointing teams in football.
Who would you rather have, Tua or Brock as your quarterback?
Brock. I mean, and I would probably mostly say that because like Tua's head injuries have ruined a couple Dolphin seasons and it would have you questioning, his health long term much more than Brock Purdy.
He took some shots Sunday against Houston. Now he got up and I was like, uh-oh. That was the first time.
He's like diving for first downs.
Yeah, I was like, dude, Tua, get it together, man. I like Tua a lot. So the game is on CBS at 125. Mike McDaniel and Kyle Shanahan reunion. There you go.
There you go. Hey, y'all are trying to dig any type of storylines you can find out of that one.
I'm trying to do anything but talk about Brock's upcoming contract in season. It's already driving me crazy. How much money is it going to make? How much money is going to make? Guess what, folks? He's going to make a lot of money. That's what we do.
Yeah, but how many years?
We got all off season for that. I'm just so bogged down.
How about the Dennis Schroder debut?
Yes,
that should own your airwaves.
It gets Taylor Jenkins, who we just cursed out last week.
Yes. I don't know if people saw this. You're right. It adds an extra layer to this Warriors-Grizzlies rivalry. Dennis Schroder got in Taylor Jenkins' face.
That's what we need. More layers.
Yeah, more layers. See, Shasky knows I can sell any game. I'll sell a Portland Trailblazers game. The hell with me. The NBA needs me to start selling some of these games. I'll hype it up. Slater, you're the best, man. Have fun out there in Memphis, Tennessee.
All right, fellas.
See you, buddy.
Right, Anthony Slater here on the River Islands guest line. A lot of fun. Hey.